may have heard the term cognitive distortions, or the idea that we sometimes develop thinking errors that cause us to believe or overvalue ideas that are negatively skewed and have little truth or evidence. These thoughts tend to develop as a way to protect ourselves from perceived danger or to solve problems. Most of us experience them from time to time. However, just as persistent exposure to physical trauma can lead to long-term challenges, repetitive or unhealthy thoughts can be extremely damaging to our sense of self, others, and our perception of reality. These thoughts are typically slow to form, but they can run much deeper as they develop. Similar to physical movement and fitness, we have to exercise our cognition and try to adapt or challenge these thoughts, especially if they have become unhelpful patterns. Let us review a few cognitive distortions that I see most commonly, but you will have access to a complete list where you can further investigate what might be most challenging for you. The biggest cognitive distortion I see people struggle with is personalization, or taking things personally when they may not be connected to or a result of something we actually did, or assuming we are at fault when we are excluded from something. This includes self-blame, particularly when things are beyond our control or not our fault. Additionally, personalization is commonly associated with anxiety and depression. Second is overgeneralization, or reaching a conclusion about something and applying this to other situations that are not associated. For example, we may have one negative experience with relationships and develop the belief that we are just generally horrible at all relationships. Overgeneralization is commonly associated with trauma and anxiety. Another challenging cognitive distortion is catastrophizing, or when we tend to assume the worst when we are faced with uncertainty or exaggerating the difficulty of a situation. For example, if I fail at this, I will never finish school or I will never be successful in my career. Or assuming the worst when feeling a little sick or down to the point that you may worry this is how you will always feel, and many times this may spiral into other thoughts and feelings. And finally, mind reading is the last cognitive distortion I will mention. This is when we assume to know what others are thinking. In this case, we typically are not considering all evidence, but are biased toward the evidence that confirms our suspicions or beliefs. This might be assuming someone is going to react in a certain way, or that others think poorly of us, when we have little to no evidence that supports this conclusion. In fact, most of the time there is much more evidence to support the contrary. By first identifying these thoughts and trying to see where they may have originated, we can then use techniques like cognitive reframing or weighing the facts of our perception to work toward a more balanced view of ourselves and others. This creates more emotional awareness, stability, and flexibility, and has been associated with increased resilience, reduced stress, anxiety, depression, and worry.